I think it's safe to say that Red Letter Media has become infamous for initially their interpretations of the prequels, and we'll be reviewing those criticisms and whether they hold up. Now, this will be a fair-minded debate, so we're not going to do any Rick Worley or anomaly stuff. We're not going to automatically say George Lucas is a genius, where they make a good point, a fair point. We're going to acknowledge it. But again, those videos are very weird. They're mostly parodies, so we have to be careful when they meet. If they're trying to make a serious point as opposed to a comedy point, it's very hard. So we're going to try to go in order, but we're going to skip the first part because it's a very weak attack asking who the main character is. It's Padme. Who's the main character? Padme. So we're going to focus on this early video where they focus on the beginning of Phantom Menace and them criticizing Nute Gunray for not making any sense. Now, I actually agree with them that Nute does not make a lot of sense, but these specific criticisms I don't think are going to be too strong, but we're going to let them make their case. And
it's odorless and colorless. Your wife won't even know what hit her. Oh, I mean Jedi. Also, moments earlier, the Jedi willingly drank tea that was given to them, while they discussed how everything felt really fishy.
I sense an unusual amount of fear for something as trivial as this trade dispute.
Hey, you guys got any rat poison lying around? Put it in the tea! Put it in the tea! They'll drink it! Put the rat poison in the tea! So anyways, then the dioxazine starts filling up the room, and then...
Dioxazine.
Hey, wait. How does Qui-Gon know what kind of gas it is before he smells it? Isn't that like a contradiction? Do you smell the deadly white gas? I guess it's a little too late. Maybe we just got a little sniff of it. Anyways, you know, this idea could work because we see that the Jedi hold their breath, which implies there's some kind of danger of them running out of breath, right? Maybe they could hold their breath for like 2 hours because they're Jedis. Well, no, that's not true, because later in the film we see they need to use them breathing things underwater for that short swim to the Gunga Sea world. So anyways, it's like the Jedi know that the droids are going to open up the door in a very short time before they run out of breath, because they don't immediately start trying to cut their way out, which is what I'd be doing. I'd probably be screaming too, like a little girl. So what are they doing in there? Then the dumbest line in the movie is said.
They must be dead by now. Destroy what's left of them.
What does that mean? Hey asshole, how about you leave the door closed for like 4 hours? And then if they try to cut through the door, start shooting them in the face. Then pump in more gas and keep pumping it in. Obviously you've never suffocated a hooker that was trying to escape from your crawl space before. I'd recommend spraying Raid in there. You need to go with the fast kill, low irritant kind. It's in the blue bottle, it works the best. You'll need about 6 cans though. What was I talking about? Oh right. So they open the doors anyways, and they let the Jedi out and attack them with completely useless robots. Just tell them to leave, and then you don't want to negotiate. And then when their ship flies out of your space dock, shoot it with lasers! Also, we need to consider the fact that killing 2 Jedi that were sent there as peaceful ambassadors would be a pretty heinous crime in the eyes of the Galactic Senate, an organization that runs everything, including the space taxes. I mean, you could just claim that they never got there.
okay, so we've listened to them, and what do they have to say? Essentially, that Gunray's plan with the poison gas really is illogical and stupid, but their own video is very self-contradictory because they're asking, well, how does Qui-Gon know what kind of gas it is? Well, the gas is visible. Let's repeat that one more time. The gas is visible. He can see it. You can see it. I can see it. Mike can see the gas. So there's no contradiction in him identifying the gas. And in fact, they even add, well, maybe he took a little sniff. Yeah, he could have just sniffed a little bit of it and then held his breath. And then they pursue the question, well, the Jedi, well, they need to breathe, right? Because later they use breathers with Jar Jar. Listen, we don't know the distance to the Gungan city. So when they say it's a short trip to the Gungan city, that's not in the film. You're just imposing that. So, again, there's no real plot hole. They go very close to Kaloum Edmund's territory and just creating a plot hole that's not there. Now, is that a great scene? No, I agree. It's a pretty silly scene. And there is a genuine plot hole in that it's one thing that the Jedi aren't really affected by the poison gas, or they can basically hold their breath. I mean, they have the Force, and with the midichlorians, they are sort of superhuman, so that's not a big trouble. But presumably some of the gas was absorbed into their skin, so it does feel a little weird that they don't suffer any effects afterwards, right? They seem to be breathing normally. They don't suffer any effects, and that's a little strange. And he is right, it's a bit of a coincidence that they're going to open the doors and the robots are right there, but as he himself says, the robots are useless. So yeah, the poison gas and the robots waiting to shoot them, it's not going to work. They can clearly get away from the gas. They have super speed, so they could just super speed towards the door or just slice it open. The droids are not going to hold them back. So there's not really a plot hole, but you can kind of criticize the scene for not being well constructed. I think the general problem here is that Lucas pays attention to the details he wants to pay attention to, and a lot of other stuff he just ignores. Now, their major point ahead is going to be, well, they're going to go off the ship, and it makes no sense to them getting off the ship to meet the magical rabbit is very forced. It's not organic to the scenes. But in terms of this gas thing, I don't see the major problem. The Trade Federation wasn't expecting Jedi, so them drinking the tea is not a plot contradiction. They weren't expecting the Jedi. They weren't expecting to poison anybody. And if they filled the tea with tons of poison, they would immediately sense it. Again, they do have some sensitivity to being threatened. It's not perfect, but again, Force powers can presumably answer these things. We don't want to pull the Force for every single question, but I think invoking it here is totally legitimate. So yeah, it's a little disappointing. At least at the beginning, these attacks are not very strong. They're just sort of, very Mauler attacks. I'm just going to make a contradiction. I have found 10 billion contradictions in The Last Jedi in the first 15 seconds. Comrades, there are 20,000 billion. It's all in your head. There's nothing there. The scenes are fine. You're just making stuff up for money. You're an idiot. You're just a grifter. The scenes are fine. The film is fine. And thus far in The Phantom Menace, it's fine. There's no major problems here. At least not with that poison gas stuff. It's just not a major issue. But the Trade Federation is a little wonky and their motivations are a little obscure. So they're going to offer more powerful attacks. So those I agree are going to be much more difficult to answer. But on this one, I'm going to give it to Lucas. Definitely could have been written better and filmed better, but yeah, no major issue with the poison gas and the droids, at least not at this point. All right, this has been Star Wars Analyzed on early assessments of Red Letter Media and The Phantom Menace. If you like the content, please hit the like button and/or subscribe. Please comment below. It helps the channel. Please consider supporting the work on Patreon. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.